Today, as I'm recording this episode, I've already been to one marriage function and I'm yet to go to another one. So, this is a big time for marriages in India because in India, most of the marriages are done as per birth charts, the horoscopes we call them. And that's what decides the most auspicious dates for a marriage. Therefore, sometimes of the month or week, there are tons of marriages happening, and sometimes there's dead silence. Today is one such time. While it's fun, the whole dressing up, everyone's looking nice, putting their best foot forward, good food, good music, this comes packaged with traffic nightmare on the roads. Don't even get me started. Anyway, what I was saying here was that Indian marriages are like a Mahakumbh. We have friends and family and acquaintances and neighbors and staff and their friends and their families, the caterers, musicians, gate crashers. The list just goes on. Recently, I was at a crowded friends' dinner, wedding dinner, and there were a lot of mini stages where someone or the other was taking center stage. The air was buzzing with stories, laughter, and some friendly chaos. My friend's husband, Percy, he's a mountaineer and he loves to have a crowd around him. He started telling everyone about his recent mountain trek. And Percy is a great storyteller. That night, somehow, God knows for what reason, he seemed a little off track. So, this is what Percy said. Hear me out. So, I packed my gear and we started the hike at sunrise. It was beautiful. Oh, and did I mention I almost lost my backpack halfway up? Anyway, we climbed and climbed and climbed. And then I got to the top. The view was incredible. What did you learn from this? Nothing, right? Everyone was polite, nodding along, but secretly they were all wondering, what's the big deal? You took the climb. You took the trek. Why are we hearing this? I noticed some people excused themselves. Some had a sudden phone call. Somebody wanted to go to the loo. You get it, right? And slowly, Percy's voice faded and we noticed another group. Another mini stage was buzzing with jokes and laughter. Naturally, the energy in the place shifted. Without realizing it, Percy had missed a golden chance to make his story unforgettable. Generally, he's a great storyteller. But today he focused so much on what happened that he never really got down to why it mattered to others or what it all meant. Let's rewind and picture how Percy could have nailed it. Imagine he started off with the same energy. And then, only if he had dug deeper and made sure his story connected with others. Let's say, suppose Percy said this. So there I was, standing at the top of the mountain, breathing in the fresh air and feeling every bit of sweat and hard work pay off. This climb reminded me of life. Sometimes we are so focused on the destination, we almost forget the joy in the struggle, don't we? But it's those challenges that make the view at the top worth every step. Suppose Percy had said this, the crowd would have been hooked. They would not have just heard about the mountain climb, they would have felt the climb, the effort, and most importantly, the lesson to take away. What Percy did in the second example was to use a very simple yet powerful approach that I use in many of my communication skill workshops. It's an extremely useful tool when you want to engage an audience and make your story memorable. I promise that by the end of this episode, you would be able to apply this technique masterfully and effortlessly in your conversations and make what you say unforgettable to the others in the right spirit. So, what was the technique that Percy used the second time? What was it that he did the second time that made his story memorable? It was a straightforward technique, a simple technique which you're going to get trained right here, right now. It's called the what, so what next technique. So the first part, what? What is your raw story, your main event, your topic? For Percy, it was his climb. So, what is just like the rooster crowing a cock-a-doodle-doo in the morning? Just an announcement that it's day. Students can compare it to the topic sentence of your essay. So, what is your foundation? Suppose you work in an office, what might be the main point of your presentation? Maybe your new strategy or idea. Imagine you presenting a new idea at work. You start with, we've developed a new app feature. That's your what. It's the core of your message. But how does it affect people? Your audience, your team, isn't happy to know just the what. If you share only the what, they might listen politely, but they'll not be invested. You'll not be engaging with them. You can't obviously involve or motivate them if they're not engaged with them. So this support comes with the second part of the technique. And this is where it gets interesting. The what needs to be supported by so what? Why should people hear you? Why should they pay attention to what you're saying? So the second part answers, why should I care? We've all had moments where, suppose you've narrated a personal story to someone, you're pitching an idea to somebody, or you're even explaining your weekend plans to a friend, but they didn't seem to care. They start checking their phones. Even if you were excited about what you were saying, they were not so excited to listen. It's the so what that your words were missing. If people get something out of what you're saying, you give them the so what, then they'll be hooked. You'd like that, won't you? Remember in one earlier example, you were presenting an idea at office and you said, we've developed the new app feature. So go ahead and tell them the so what after saying the what. So your so what could be something like, we've developed a new app feature. This feature will make it easier for users to find what they need in half the time. Imagine how many customers will appreciate a smoother experience. You're now speaking directly to the listener's need. You're explaining the why and how this matters to them too. So you've got them hooked. But it doesn't end here. Once they're hooked, their expectations rise. We're all human. So you give us one bite of the dessert and we're imagining the whole dinner experience. We want more. So now in this case, you've connected with them. You need to smartly and efficiently blend in a purpose. What can the listener or the audience do with this information? What happens then? This is where the what next comes in. You've got them excited, they're connected to your story. Now you have to make them react. In advertising communication, we call this the CTA, the call to action button. You need to make them press the CTA button. How? Make them a part of your story. Give them the what next. This is where the audience gets to see what's in there for them and what they can do with the information that you've given. So the what next answers, how can we move forward? What's the action here? So you continue. Next, I'd love for each team to test the app out and give us the feedback. Let's see how we can refine this and make it even better. Now, you're inviting them, you're giving them a clear path to do something next. Not only is your story, it has also become their story. They're playing characters in the story. So you give them the what, the so what, and the what next. This what, so what next technique comes in handy all the time, in all walks of life. And many people believe that this is only for the managers, it's not for the CEOs. Incidentally, one CEO I met recently thought that this was not for him. That's why I'm mentioning this. I was training a marketing team on this technique and I noticed the CEO was busy scrolling on his phone. He had this attitude, it's not for me. This is for the team. And I thought otherwise. So I had to make the CEO a part of my story. I pointed to him and I said, Top bosses like your CEO are mentors in their own way. But if they want to really effectively communicate something, if they want the team to follow, if they want the customer to press the CTA button, they need this technique and they need to master it. The CEO got my message. He understood how he can benefit from the what, so what next. And obviously, he stopped fiddling with his phone. Think of talking engagingly to people like cooking. Technically, they call it storytelling. Let's say it's a warm, sunny Sunday. You're whipping up a special meal for friends. You're making that exotic biryani. You set out all the ingredients, veggies, meat, spices, everything's done. But if you ask people to just plop the meal down without an explanation, sure, people might eat. The meal might be tasty. They'll relish it. But they'll eat it and they'll forget it. Instead, if you lay down the meal and say, "This is my grandma's special recipe. She used to make it every Sunday. So much so that everyone wanted to stay at home on Sundays. The smell alone would bring us all to the table." Suddenly, everyone would lean in. They're interested not only in the what they're eating, but why it matters to them, and they're thinking of their own grandmas. That's the magic of adding the so what. You're serving the food, not just a memory, an experience alongside the food is what you're giving. You've created a story that people can taste. So the next time you're about to say something, whether it's to a room full of colleagues, a group of friends, or even your dog, because hey, we talk to our dogs too, remember the what, so what next technique. Change the way you communicate, make what you say unforgettable. Let's see what happens next, because your next conversation might just be the best one yet. Good luck. Thank you for listening to this episode of Communicate 101 Speaking Writing Tips with Sarika Singh. If you want to be notified of upcoming episodes, be sure to hit the subscribe button and follow the podcast. I'll be back to share more stories, more life experiences, and more communication tips every Friday. If you want to reach me or connect with me, just put your comments in the comment box below or mail me at info@sarikasingh.in. I know you're going to rate and review this podcast, so a big thank you in advance. Stay tuned and think about what we talked today.